you and I've worked really hard doing these things. And like with Rebookly.ai, it actually connects with Jane, which makes it 10 times easier for my clients that work with Jane, because now it's like, okay, here's the automated process. This is great. We have their website. We have all of these things all connected, and it just talks and it works.
Hey there, welcome to the show. I'm Chris Eder, your host with Rebookly.ai, and welcome to another episode. We all know that tech can be a double-edged sword. The right tools can help your clinic grow and save time, but the wrong ones, they'll leave you overwhelmed and frustrated. So that's why I brought on Allisyn Howard from Ava Wellness to talk about what tools are actually worth it to grow your clinic. From choosing the best EMR and CRM to knowing what they are and how they are different, to knowing when to introduce automation tools like Rebookly. This is a must-watch for any wellness business owner looking to grow smarter. Let's dive into the tools that support your business without slowing you down. Allisyn, welcome back again. I've been looking forward to this one. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's time to get nerdy. So today's episode is all about tech that helps, not hurts. So how to pick the right tools without drowning in shiny objects. So let's get into that. Let's get into what a shiny object is. More importantly, what is the shiny object syndrome? And let's talk about choosing some systems that actually support the goals of wellness clinics and spas. So Allisyn, there's a ton of tools out there. Which ones should we be focusing on?
Ones that work for your business. So I know that sounds ridiculously simple, and it kind of is in a way, but a lot of people and a lot of practitioners, I've seen this over and over again, they will have like one thing for email, another thing for text messaging with their clients. They'll have a different thing for their social media. Then they'll have a whole different system for their website. And then they'll have a whole thing for any courses that they're bringing out. And then they'll have their EMR, and then they'll have this. And it's like, oh my God, stop. And then on top of it, they don't actually use any of it, and they're still just using a calendar, if that. Like, I know clinics that are, oh, that's another one. They'll have a different one for payroll, and they'll have a different one for scheduling their front desk. And it's like, yeah. And then they don't use any of it, and then they just write it down on a piece of paper and then, or a sticky note. Like the amount of times I've seen that where I'm just like, what?
Sticky note warriors.
Oh my God. It's like sticky note calendars, or like, oh, so-and-so needs, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen that. I've seen like the sticky notes of like, I've seen a full on basically policy and procedure manual full of sticky notes, because they're like, this needs to change or what. And I'm like,
I mean, sticky notes, there's a time and a place for them. I love them for certain things.
Sticky notes.
But they have no place in other things.
No. And one of them is for your passwords, y'all. First one. That one. Yep.
Yeah,
seen that. Seen that a lot.
Please don't do that.
Yeah. It's been there. It's interesting. Right. And the thing is, a lot of people will try to go with the cheapest option, or on the other hand, they'll go for like the one with all the bells and whistles that they'll never use.
Yeah.
Or, they don't look at like, what do I actually need? And is there a way to do this like cost effectively? Because there's a lot of tools out there that are very cost effective that do genuinely make your like systems easier. Right. But there's a lot of things that just complicate it, like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't talk to each other. And
what's your biggest tip for knowing if this tool is right for their business?
Biggest one, it would be before you actually get on and like start using the thing, really look at what you need first. Right. So if you are not a person who is going to be doing monthly newsletters, like I'm going to be perfectly honest, like in my business, I don't do it. I don't. I do it for my clients. I help my clients write content. But for me, I don't. I love doing this kind of thing with podcasts or talks or, big group trainings or things like that. That's much more impactful for me. So I don't need a system that can have a bazillion emails kind of thing. But if I'm trying to do that, yeah, I need a system for it. I do
Right.
need systems that can hold videos, right? Where I'm creating courses, I'm creating those things where it's like, I need a system that's going to do that. I need a system that can have my website, that can have me be able to chat with all of my clients coming into like one place, ideally, because I don't want to check 4 different inboxes, be able to check all my stats. I sat down and I actually like wrote out, and I make my clients do this and they hate me for about 20 minutes. And then they're like, oh, hold on, I don't need to pay this or this or this or this. And I'm like, no, right? But for me, even I do a lot of coaching, right? Like I'm a coach. It's kind of what I do. I need a system that I can have Zoom that can record, where I can have AI notes, I can have a transcript, I can do all of these things. That's important to me.
Hmm.
So, does my chiropractor clients need that? No. Have I had chiropractor clients that do have that and they're paying $40 US a month for something they don't use? Yeah. Yeah, I've had that. But really taking a look at like, what are you spending? What do you need? Is there a way to do this more cost effectively? Or on the flip side, um, do you need to actually spend some more money? Are you just kind of cheaping out about like, oh, well, I can use this email marketing system for these clients, and I can like I've seen clients where they've had 3 email marketing, like they've had MailerLite, they've had MailChimp, and then Constant Contact. They're all on the free versions for all 3, and they use different ones for different kinds of clients. And I'm like, do you remember who's on what? And they're like, no, I have to go log into each one of them to remember. And I'm like, this goes back to
Yeah.
like our last episode of like,
I was
just
just gonna
like,
say chaos and
yo,
clarity in a nutshell.
just stop. Right. So having those things really set up. And then the shiny object syndrome, what I mean when I say that, because I say that a lot, is getting distracted by either other practitioners or Instagram ads or whatever, saying like, this is the newest best thing ever and you should have it. Right. I teach my clients, if I'm in my, I'm in a 2011 MDX. Okay. Love my car. I absolutely adore my car. Actually, no, it's not even an 11. Whatever. It's old. It's my mother-in-law's old car. I love that car. It's totally paid off. Nobody needs to know what's in my car. They could judge it all they want, whatever. But if I'm going to look at the next lane over and there's, oh my God, this beautiful Bronco. And Chris, you've seen my
You like your
Bronco. I
Broncos.
do like my Bronco. I like old school Broncos. But um, if I'm looking at, the Bronco or whatever, and I'm going, oh my God, I wish I should do that. Maybe I should go take out a loan and do all of this stuff and whatever. I don't care. That person could be, 2 steps away
Don't need
from
it.
bankruptcy, and I'm in the clear and I'm profitable and all of these things because I've got systems that work for me,
Hmm.
versus the flash, right? Like, you don't need to know what's in that other person's car. You don't, because you don't know the situation. But if you start comparing yourself and going, oh, but maybe if I use that tool or if I do this or whatever, shiny object syndrome isn't just tech. It's when you start comparing yourself to others without all the information, right? And it's, oh, I'm going to jump, right? Like you see this a lot with your tech stuff, Chris, where it's like somebody's jumped from this system to this system to this system. And you're like, why are
Yeah.
you jumping so much? Because you're not
Hmm.
staying long enough to figure out, does it actually work for you? You haven't figured out what you need. So you keep jumping around and then well, screw it. I'm just going to use paper and pen. Please don't do that. Like I am a big
Yeah.
paper and pen girly. Got my notebook, but I have my systems to back up my notebook.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm hearing a recurring theme here of needs versus
Mm-hmm.
wants, I think is a big
Big
one,
one.
and having the exercises to kind of go through properly identifying your needs versus
Mm-hmm.
wants. It's important. It's a big thing. And, Coming into another question here, as we love our acronyms and buzzwords and things of that nature in the industry, especially in tech.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk EMRs. What is it? What does it stand for? What's your favorite EMR as well?
So EMRs, a lot of people will conflate an EMR and a CRM. So an EMR stands for electronic medical records. So we need this for things like massage therapists, chiropractors, NDs, basically every wellness professional needs an EMR at some point. Okay. Um,
Mhm.
because especially with the day and age that we're in, we need online booking. We need to be able to send things electronically very quickly. People also want to be able to check your notes and check all of these things. And honestly, it hasn't come out yet, but I really do believe that this is where it's going to go. Um, Actual paper records, if you are totally physical records, honestly, in the next couple of years, I can see all of the regulatory bodies, regardless of what country or what profession, actually
Yeah.
saying, no, you need an EMR because take things like the forest fires that happen basically every summer,
Mhm.
all of that stuff can get destroyed. You can look at the
Yeah.
floods, any natural disaster, but also there's a security thing, right? So anybody could walk in technically to like behind a desk, say they broke in, whatever, and take a look through your medical records. Uh, if I get nerdy about TV shows, but one of my favorite TV shows was Veronica Mars growing up. There is a whole scene in there about her breaking into a doctor's office and reading confidential medical records, right? And it's because they were physical and, alphabetical and all of these things, which I mean, used to be standard practice.
Mhm.
Um, the security's not there, right? Like anybody could go read those things. Not that they do, but the potential's there. Now with an EMR, there are people out there that I've lovingly called them baby conspiracy theorists. And I do mean this lovingly, okay? Because they want all of the security and they don't believe that something like an EMR is going to be secure. But it it's the best out of any kind of idea, right? So take something like Jane, which is my favorite EMR. Okay, so Jane
Love
app
Jane App.
is fabulous. They're a Canadian company, which love supporting Canadian as well, because we're Albertan, comes with the territory. Not that I don't love my US and UK clients. Hi guys. But having something like Jane, they really have this really big value on security, right? And making sure that things are encrypted and
Yep.
making sure that, you can't just like hack in and do these things. Now, are there tech insane wizards that probably could? Yeah, probably. But I mean, they could hack the Pentagon too. So, you know, we're going to have there's always going to be that level of security. And when you are working with companies and respected companies as well that are staying current with trends, with what's going on, it makes it a lot easier to work with an EMR. Um, Other really good ones out there are things like Mind Body app, and Booker. They're owned by the same company, but they're a behemoth in the States. Now, if you're in the States versus Canada, things work very differently on either side of the border. So if you are going to be working with a coach or consultant or working with a tech company, understand where they're from. Also, this is a big
Mhm.
tip. Understand where they're from and what the regulations are on either side because they
Right.
do change, right? Like we just had some tech regulation changes here in Canada that Chris helped me walk through, my clients walk through. Um,
Mhm.
so knowing those things are a really big deal. But when you understand that, man, EMRs can make your life. Oh my, you can just check it on your phone as well, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Loving the theme of keeping things easy in our episodes here. So I heard another acronym, in your answer there earlier versus
Mm.
EMR and CRM. So, what the heck is a CRM? What does that stand for? And what does it do? So,
So a CRM is your customer relationship management system. Okay. So this is more for things like marketing. This is for rapport building. This is for your courses and your funnels and your website and things like that, where you can be sending invoices or sending contracts for practitioners or people to be joining you. It can be a lot. And there's a lot of CRMs out there, like a lot.
tons.
Um,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of ones that don't honestly work for the wellness industry. I say this a lot with my clients and in my talks that the wellness industry, we are very overpitched and underserved. And what I mean by that is like there's a lot of companies out there being like, oh my God, like there's so many people in this industry. I can sell to them. And they're just like kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall. And going back to shiny object syndrome, people will be like, oh, well, maybe that will solve my problem. Most of the time, it won't, y'all. Understanding where your foundation is and what your needs and wants are and values,
Right.
that helps. But a CRM, when it works with you, you can house all your stuff in there. It can make it so that you can be texting your people of like, hey, it's been 3 months since you've been in, or um, they can text you back being like, oh, hey, I need to cancel or I need to reschedule or whatever. And it makes it so much easier. You can have your website on there. You can have products or other services that aren't directly like, oh, uh, chiropractic service. You can't really buy that on the website, but that would be, that'd be interesting. Don't think you could. But making sure that you can build that rapport and having those notes about people about like, hey, they went on vacation or they did this or this is what's important to them. Within
Mhm.
that makes a huge deal. Now, a lot of EMRs have a spot for notes, which is nice, or a
Right.
spot to help you build rapport and things like that. But the primary objective for EMRs is to get your clients booked in, to house all your notes, and to make sure that you can get paid for your services. It's not
Mhm.
there for the bells and whistles of like making sure that you can be out in the community and you're building this reputation and you can have other things coming in. It's not there for that. In an ideal world, in an ideal scenario, you actually need both and you need them to be working together. Um, I mean, Chris, you and I have worked really hard doing these things. And like with Rebookly AI, it actually connects with Jane, which makes it 10 times easier for my clients that
Yeah.
work with Jane because now it's like, okay, here's the automated process. This is great. We have their website, we have all of these things all connected, and it just talks and it works. Makes it so much nicer to have those things together. Um, Sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error, unfortunately. But again, when you understand your foundation and you understand where you're going and why, it makes it a lot easier to choose your tech.
Yeah, and I can agree more. I mean, having those two talk to each other is so, so important because, you know, you can have a strategy, you can have an idea in mind, but if you're applying that in a way that creates more work,
Yeah.
it's not solving the problem. But when you have something that is automated and it
Mhm.
has that strategy implemented in a way that creates less work, you're winning already. You're
Oh yeah.
ahead. So, great question, and I wanna kinda pick your brain on that automation
Mhm.
topic. So, first of all, when is the right time for a clinic owner to start thinking about marketing automation or follow-up tools in the first place?
Yesterday or before they start. The reason why I say that, and I get so many clinic owners that like look at me like, what the hell, Ellie? When I say stuff like that, but it's true. And the
Mhm.
reason why it's true is because if you think about it now and you think about, okay, how do I want to show up for these people? What do I want to be working with them for? What is traditionally worked in, or not even traditionally, but like what is working in the industry? What is going to continue to fill that funnel and keep those people coming back in, like going all the way back to like episode 1, like when you understand and you can have those people that you've worked so hard to get them in the door, you've got them coming back now. Man, that makes it so much easier to do that. And if you're a solo practitioner, or if you know, have a team, or you have a lot of other things to do, the sad reality is we're taught how to be a really great practitioner. We're not taught how to run a business. We're not taught how to train and get people to be coming back in and not feel weird about it. Right. That's why I train the way I do, because like you need these things to not be spinning your wheels. But when you have the right tools in place and you can automate the things that can be automated, like some things can't, right? But a lot can.
A lot can
A
indeed.
lot can. When you start really doing that and you go, okay, this is the idea of what we're going to be doing. And this is with the marketing, because marketing it's not necessarily something that pays you right this second. And I need people to understand that, because marketing is about presence. It's about reputation. It's about getting people and the awareness of people to be coming in. What you do when you get those eyeballs on you is what actually ends up changing it. And if you don't have a system, and if you're throwing thousands of dollars on ads or whatever, and people are seeing you and then there's nothing for them to do, well, you're not going to see that comeback, right? And then you're essentially wasting money.
Yeah. Speaking of things coming back and the ROI of marketing efforts and activities in your experience, what have you seen that has worked in terms of results when a wellness clinic adds a tool like Rebookly.ai for automation, more specifically client retention? What type of tangible results have you seen so far in your experience?
I love this question because so many. So I used to do all of these things, and I used to teach all of these things how to do them manually, whether that was the next day follow up, whether that was the, hey, you've been, coming in often, like, let's get you booked in for a membership. All of these things used to be annual, and it would take
Mhm.
so much time. And my God, like, again, and I'm saying this as a millennial, getting millennials and Gen Z and all of that to pick up the phone and actually call somebody.
Not
No,
happening.
it's not. It's really not. And it took so much more training and so many hours of my time to get them to understand, like, okay, this actually has a purpose, and like you're not bugging them,
Mhm.
right? But now with something like Rebookly, it's just automated. Now, if our AI systems for the multitude of clinics that I've implemented this with, um, if somebody goes, oh, I need to rebook in August, our systems like tell us, hey, they need to be followed up with. And we'll put it, like, it puts it back into the pipeline of like they
Mhm.
will follow up, but we have it set on like specific things. But if they're telling us, hey, rebook, or like call me in 2 weeks or text me in 2 weeks, well, now I have a reason at the front desk to call that person, where I'm like, hey, Chris, you were on vacation a couple of weeks ago. You told me to call you. So I'm doing that. One, you're getting the call because you asked for it. Now I truly feel like I've got a purpose about calling. And then two, I don't feel weird about calling,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
so much easier and it's so much less time. But even
Yeah.
on a small scale, like one of our recent clients, got started with Rebookly. I think we only sent out like 110 retention messages, right? And that was like everybody who hadn't come in over 3 months, I think,
Something like
stuff
that.
like that. And it was like, okay, we haven't had anybody come in for, or not haven't had anybody, but these people haven't come in 3 months.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's a naturopathic clinic. So people aren't coming like every week kind of deal, but they do
Mhm.
need to come in. Well, we
Yeah.
had sent out like 110. We had 12 people actually say like, yes, I need to rebook. They rebooked. And it's all automated. We haven't had to pick up the phone for anything like that. And it was over $2,000 in revenue that came in 1 month, where front desk didn't need to do anything. We've got another
Nice.
10 people that are like, oh, actually, like, can you call me in September because that's when my benefits renew? Okay. Well, now it's a task, right? And it all works seamlessly together. And I'm sorry, like $2,000 for people like where they haven't been in, like one client hadn't been in almost 3 years. They're like, oh my God, I was actually thinking about you. And like, I needed to rebook, but it's one of those things that slips my mind, or I want to call when you're not open because it's a Sunday. I'm thinking about it or whatever.
Mhm.
They did the whole process online with our AI, with everything. So much time is saved, and like even bigger impact on things like massage or aesthetics or chiropractic or anything that people are needing to come in much more regularly.
Yeah.
Like
Huge ROI with
huge
that.
ROI without having to be on your front desk, or you be picking up the call or texting people and all of these things, or sending kind of disjointed emails that feel kind of spammy, right? Because it's just like, oh, well, I click the button and it says, hey, here's an appointment availability. I'm like, I didn't want an appointment, like, versus something much more personal, which is nice.
Yeah, the personalization in the way that you reach out really makes the difference.
Oh,
If it's not something that's coming from, the standard customer service playbook for clinics, it's something that's actually personalized, referencing their name, their previous treatment if possible, and who's reaching out to them and why, with some kind of an outcome in terms of coming in for another hot stone massage or trying their new cupping service to melt away the stress. If there's some kind of transformation or outcome, that's something
huge.
that people resonate
And
with.
you can, with Rebookly, what's cool is you can also, like, since it talks to Jane, you can be like, oh, you came in for a cupping massage, right? Okay, great. In a month, we're going to message you. Or we're going to be talking about this a lot next month with hopefully our series, but busy season, right? Like getting ready for busy season, where you're talking to your people who maybe haven't been in since last busy season or the beginning of the year, going, hey, by the way, it's September, it's whatever, we're going to be starting to
Gotta use those
book.
benefits.
Exactly. But also people are booking out, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my
Get in while you
clients,
can.
4 to 6 weeks, right? Like you want to book in, you're going to book in 4 to 6 weeks. Otherwise, you're, shit out of luck. But telling people now about that and having that be like an automated, like, hey, we set that up in the system and it can go, so much easier. And then it's just a nice reminder for people, right? You're serving them. You're not being like, hey, I'm going to pull you in by your ear, you know?
I'm loving it. So many golden nuggets, so many takeaways. I hope some of our folks listening are writing down some notes and really getting excited about the future here, because if we're talking about some stuff that you haven't implemented yet, there's a whole world of ease and money to be made out there. So, love this conversation, Allisyn. Thanks so much for being on the show. For anyone watching up until now, if you are overwhelmed with the tools or just need some help figuring out it's actually worth your time when it comes to the tech, Allisyn support can make a huge difference. So, Allie, where can folks find you?
So the easiest place is going to be on avawellness.ca. You can actually book a free call on there. You can also read more about what I do and how I help people. But because they're a listener of this podcast, they can book in a 30-minute free call with me as well, where we'll actually go into the tech that they are using currently and see, hey, this is what's kind of going on.
That is huge. That's fantastic. Okay, Allie, thanks so much for being on the show. Have a fantastic day. And everyone else watching, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks again for tuning in to this episode with Rebookly.ai. If you're curious about automating rebookings, reducing front desk overwhelm, and generating more revenue for your clinic in one of the easiest ways, head over to Rebookly.ai and check out what we're building. We've got more great episodes coming your way, so be sure to subscribe and share this with someone who'd benefit. See you next time.